My name is Father Dan Canberra, and I'm a Marian of the Immaculate Conception, the religious community that operates the National Shrine of Divine Mercy here in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And today I'd like to talk to you about one of our fellow Americans, Katharine Drexel. Katharine Drexel was the daughter of a wealthy financier, a man who was a personal friend of J.P. Morgan and helped J.P. Morgan amass his own fortunes. When she was just a little girl, around the age of 2, her mother died, and 3 years later, her father, who had remarried, also died. Her stepmother took great personal concern over Katharine Drexel's education along with her 2 sisters, and they all 3 became very accomplished socialites. In her travels around the United States, Katharine Drexel, who had been taught by both her parents and her step-parents to have a concern for the less fortunate, became especially aware of the plight of the Native American Indians and also of African Americans. Finally, on a European tour, she happened to have an audience with Pope Leo XIII. And in her audience with the Holy Father, she expressed her concern that there was not a religious community who was serving especially the needs of the Native American Indians. And Leo XIII turned to the saint-to-be and said to her, "Well, what are you doing for them?" She immediately took that as the sign from God Almighty that she should found a religious community of sisters who would provide for the education of Native American Indians. Her first school was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they quickly expanded and multiplied across the Southwest and into New Orleans, Louisiana. It was there that she built her first school for African Americans, and then a second one, and then finally a secondary school in New Orleans, which eventually became Xavier University. Katharine Drexel spread her fortune and spent it freely on the building up of her religious community of over 500 sisters by the time of her death. She had developed over 42 elementary schools and had at least 6 high schools that had been founded by her community and developed by them. Eventually, her fortune was used not only to found Xavier University, but Drexel University, named after her parents. Her Drexel relatives are also with us today. Many of us have probably bought furniture through the Drexel Furniture Company, and that's all part of that same large family of faithful Catholics who have served the church well, but none quite as well as Katharine Drexel, who spent her entire life, all her heart, and certainly spent over $20 million in her lifetime of her own personal fortune to provide for the needs and education of those less fortunate. When she died with what is referred to as the broadest smile of an angel. She was received into heavenly glory, no doubt, and in the hearts and minds of many of those who knew her, she received the reward of those who love God with their whole heart, mind, soul, and all their strength, and their neighbors themselves. Her concern for both the Native American Indians and the African American community is one that has continued to bless our nation even today. It is my hope and prayer that through her intercession, God will bless you and all those whom you love.